Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the zone. Today, we have a couple of things we have to explain. We have a new co host today, Jordan Sutter. My daughter, I wanted to introduce her right off the get go. We are so excited to have Jordan with us today. We had to bring in Jordan because of a couple of complications with our MVP, Mr. Pete. Came off his cruise and he's not 100% right now, so we wishing Pete the absolute best. Jordan, please hold up the ginger ale so that we know. Pete, we got your ginger ale. It's ready for you when you're back. Pete and I like to sit here and swig Canada Dry ginger ale from time to time. Keeps us rolling through it. But Jordan, welcome to In the Zone. And just finishing up her first year at Westfield State, and we are absolutely pumped and excited to have her in for her first time in the zone. We've wanted to do this. We've talked about doing it, and sometimes necessity creates the opportunity. So we're in the zone. We talk basketball. We talk only basketball. Don't worry about Jordan's knowledge base because she's been at basketball games since she's 2 years old, followed a lot of things that have happened with my career, so we are absolutely pumped. Now, the other thing we have to report is although Pete is in here with us, Pete is actually running the show from off-site, and it just, again, displays his unbelievable skill set, his unbelievable organizational abilities to be able to pull this off. Not feeling well, not having it 100%, but he's not even on site, and Pete's running the show from off-site. That's why he's MVP Pete. Pete, we hope you feel better, and we want to get back here soon. And also, hope you had a good time. Hope you had a good time. So we're going to jump right into our NCAA Feed 'em Fish segment. This is one of our jump-off segments. We're going to start you in the NCAA today because the NBA is a little heavy. The NCAA is a little bit lighter, so we're going to start off there today, and we're going to rock and roll. We also have some questions for some people that have sent them in for us. We did it on a little bit of short notice because we just found out Jordan was going to be with us yesterday. So we are absolutely super pumped today. We're going to jump right off in the NCAA section, in the NCAA segment, with the Portal Potty section that we've been covering, and it's our NCAA coverage of what goes on. And Pete's got the graphics and everything rolling today. This is our Portal Potty segment where we talk about all of the stuff that's happening in the NCAA right now, how this has become a social media phenomenon, and what we're trying to do to keep up with it in the zone. We're just trying to hustle, follow Twitter, follow some of the social media sites, but this is absolutely turned upside down. And we are absolutely playing a new game in NCAA basketball today. Okay? So, as of thus far, we have, and these are concluding numbers because we now have indication May 1st was the close of the portal door. Now, again, I don't think that's going to stop anybody from doing anything now, the way things are going. But at least the NCAA concluded May 1st would be the day that they closed the portal door. At that time, we had 2,026 people Division I. We also had another 1,014 from Division II. A grand total, everybody grab your hat, hold on tight, 3,040 total transfers. In the Zone gave it to you a long time ago, people. In the Zone gave it to you a long time ago saying that's going to be at least 25% of the entire population of student athletes. Right now it's at 28.2. 28.2. Jordan and I talk about this from time to time at home. It's just absolutely turned basketball upside down. It has made it a little bit more in the day-to-day excitement part because you can really still follow it even though the season's over. But right now, it's a little bit hairy. We're talking about 10,773 total athletes. 28.2 of them are pursuing new places to play, new schools to go to. We have young men in four different schools in 4 years. They're competing for dollars right now, which is understandable. But what it's creating in the NCAA landscape also is an uncertainty. It's also creating a situation in the NCAA landscape where you're not going to have record holders anymore. You're not going to be able to have school record holders. You're not going to be able to have people who have records at their universities, and the people that hold those records right now can feel comfortable. We have gone through this many, many times with Pete, and we call it the seedy underside. Number 46, last week we talked about how coaches can now just run their players out when they made mistakes on scholarshiping them and they don't think they're good. And so now you just have coaches who are able to, boom, take out guys that they signed for scholarships and say, yep, no, not today, you're gone. And now it sends those young men who might not have wanted to go, might not have wanted to enter the portal themselves. Now they have to scramble and find a new school as well. The seedy underside, number 47, is players now have made commitments. They don't honor the commitment. And before the year starts, they break that commitment and sign with a new school right now. You have players who are signing scholarships with a school, and I love it on Twitter when they go 100% committed, you know, and they put up those social media posts and they go 100% committed to go to this school. I think from now on, maybe we should put up, 99% committed to going. And that 1% is unless I get a BBD, which is a bigger, better deal tomorrow, then I'll be gone. So that's the seedy side 47 for you. All right, this thing is just out of control. Okay, Jordan, I'm going to take you through Portal Party annual reports. Okay, this is all the years that it's gone on, and you'll see the growth. You'll see the exponential explosion in this thing right now where everybody and their brothers putting themselves in the portal. You also have a situation where, as I've alluded to on the show before, this is not always, a portal dictates a door. And this isn't necessarily a door of opportunity. It's a nice marketing tool, but this is an escalator. It rides up. It rides down, and sometimes the escalator gets stuck right where it was when it doesn't move at all. And so you've got some situations here, a little difficult to keep an eye on, but in 2019, this is the first year we had it, 1,516. In 2020, these are COVID years too, so you have to remember, it grew to 1,623. Moved to 2021, we go 2,454, okay? That's 1,000 more than when it first started. 2022, 2,563. 2023, 2,725. Now to eclipse 2024 with the aforementioned number 3,040. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. We're going to keep rolling about this because what we're saying on the show is big eats little. These are the big schools just taking advantage of the little schools right now. This is just big eating little. And if you're comfortable and okay with that, I guess that's what the reality of it will be from now on. But what you're saying is every single time one of these schools, Manhattan College, Fairfield, Iona, St. Bonaventure, UMass, Richmond, every time one of those staffs hustles, develops relationship, gets the family to commit to coming to that school, that player, if they're any good, are going to be gone from that school in short time. That's what you're setting up right now. That's what it is right now. And where the lawsuits on this, I really don't know, because those lower schools should be suing right now, because for years, they've taken their place dutifully in this thing. For years, they've been part of this thing, and now they're being excluded. And I think there's a lawsuit there for these lower level schools, these younger programs that aren't the Power Fives, that aren't these big places, to sue. Because what you're doing right now is you're restraining their trade. You're making it impossible for them to do their business. And that's a problem. I think that's where it should be. But there's a ton of money flying around too. So the word on the street is if you keep your mouth shut, you'll get paid. And so it'll be interesting to see where the morality hits the dollar and see who wins that one. Right now in NCAA basketball, morality is winless, and the dollar always wins. Okay, so here's some reality. The Power Five took 96 of the top 100 recruits from high school. They took 96 out of the top 100 recruits in high school. Big eats little, 96%. Power Five took 88 out of the top 100 transfers. 88 out of the top 100 transfers. Big eats little. It just keeps going. Of the top 200 players, the Power 5 now has 184 out of 200. And if they've made a mistake on any of those guys, just wait a year. Wait till the kid develops in the lower level and we poach him. No big deal. Just wait a little while. 96% and 88% comes out to 92% of all the top 200 players are in the Power 5 right now. Big eats little. Okay. We're going to go into early draft applicants. We've got early draft applicants. These are young men who have put their name into the draft. Reminder, there's a time where they can take their name out and return to school. The NIL has made that very, very viable now. So that's an upside to some of the stuff that's going on right now. Players that would normally throw their name into the draft and maybe not do well in the draft now have a chance to return to school, make viable money, and then maybe put their name in the draft again. You're talking about like Jerron Holmes from Dayton, players like that who came back, Zach Edey, who came back and were able to get paid while they were back, to ease the pain a little bit, but also now get to throw their name in a year better, more experienced, and something good under their belt. Okay, so Zach Edey is in. And again, I don't know what's the rap on this kid. I don't know why people don't like him and don't have him listed in mock drafts anywhere. I can't find him anywhere higher than 15. All right? We haven't done our draft yet, and Pete gets back, we'll certainly jump all over that. We're going to do that. We're saving some of that up for when this gets a little bit quiet also. But what we're doing right now, we're looking at this thing and we go, okay, every time you look at a mock draft, you see Donovan Clingan's name above Zach Edey's. Okay? Who had the better college career? Zach Edey, hands down. When they met head-to-head in the national championship game, who had the better game? Zach Edey, hands down. I have no idea, and I think Donovan Clingan, this isn't a knock on Donovan Clingan, I have him also as a lottery pick too. But I just don't understand why people are as down on Zach Edey as they are. And right now, we're going to say in the zone, we're going to go out on a limb. He's a two-time Wooden Player of the Year. Very similar record to Trace Jackson Davis, where he was a Big Ten star for years. Came into the NBA, very little respect being shown. A lot of interest in a lot of different places here. But this guy is our two-time NCAA Wooden Award winner. His numbers are ridiculous, and nobody's paying this guy any mind. I'm going to go out on a limb right now. NBA draft time. When it comes our time to advise and to tell general managers what we're thinking, Zach Edey will be the number one player that we suggest drafted overall of all the college players that we have out there right now. Now, I haven't had a chance to look at the G League and to the international players that will certainly populate the top half of the draft as they have for a number of years right now. But when we say the number one player, college basketball, that should be drafted in the NBA, we're going with Zach Edey. Bronny James has also put his name in. The USC guard is in the transfer portal and is also in the NBA draft. I would say, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say the only possibility that Bronny James has to get drafted is if the Lakers take him in the second round. I don't see him getting drafted. Keyshawn George from Miami, another gentleman I thought maybe another year in school wouldn't hurt. Stephon Castle from UConn, a lot of people talking about him being number one. I don't see it, but he's a great player. Reed Sheppard from Kentucky, he's another good one. Rob Dillingham from Kentucky, they've all put their names in there to get drafted. Dalton Connect, I believe, is going to be in there. Kyle Filipowski, also from Duke, has put his name in there. That's a pretty solid top group. Take Bronny James out of there. Keyshawn George. I think you're going to see a lot of those players drafted in the lottery. I would say the ones that are in there early. Okay? Some of the portal stuff that's been going on. St. John's had a very big week this week. They signed Kadari Richmond, who was the number one player left in the portal, a Seton Hall player, a terrific basketball player. I think an NBA player, prospect as well. Going to stick around. I thought he would stay at Seton Hall, but across the river, the money must have got a little bit greener. So we have him on the move. We also have them signing Devin Smith from Utah. Two good pickups for Rick Pitino's St. John's team. where they had been previously not that busy. They had been previously not that busy. Okay, we're going to take a quick segment right now as we finish up the NCAA fish. We're going to, we submitted and asked for a couple of, we did it on late, so we only got a couple here for you. But we have a couple of questions, and we're going to have Jordan jump in right now with a couple of questions that we got from people. She's going to answer the question, give us who it's from, and then I'm going to do the best that I can to give you an answer.
All right. So our first question is from Bill Campion. And his question is, what would Larry Bird do in today's game?
Okay. Hey, great job, Jordan. Awesome. And I got to stop for a second and do a quick 2-minute segment on Bill Campion. All right? Because this was one of my heroes growing up. I grew up footsteps from Manhattan College. I used to sneak into their gym all the time to play basketball. When I was a young man, anywhere to find a gym I could find, I would go in that gym. I grew up on Bill Campion, Charlie Mahoney, C. Wright, Henry C. Wright. Manhattan College had a great team. They were actually listed in the top 25 when I was a young man, Manhattan College back then. And they didn't have the top 25 season that they were having, but Bill Campion was a young man. He's a little older than me now, but at that time, a young man who was a highly decorated high school basketball player, and was 6'10", big guy.
Wow.
And I worked camps with him a little bit later on, and an absolute beautiful human being, just a great guy. So growing up, Bill Campion was a big idol of mine. He was a great basketball player, really skilled big man, and I believe he went to Rice High School in Manhattan, which is one of the vaunted great schools in the Catholic High School League in New York City. But Billy Campion brings in that question, but I could not answer the question without first letting people know, Bill Campion was the guy back in the day. Okay, so the question is, what would Larry Bird do in today's game? Larry Bird would do what Larry Bird did every time Larry Bird did what Larry Bird did. He dominated. He dominated college basketball. He dominated pro basketball. I go out on a limb all the time, and we're out on a limb a little bit today, too. So Jordan's riding along. We're out on this limb big time today. I'm going to go out and say it. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Larry Bird is the best basketball player ever to play basketball. Michael Jordan is the most talented player ever to play basketball. But the most gifted basketball player of my time is none other than Larry Bird. What would Larry Bird do today? Same thing he was doing back then, dominating. He was a great player. He was such a pleasure to watch play basketball. He had such an unbelievable innate feel for just knowing things on the court. I liken him to Maravich. I liken him to other players back in the day that were just, savants and just great players. And so Larry Bird's good with me any day of the week and twice on Sunday. All right, Jordan, let's go to question 2.
Okay, question 2 is from our friend Lizzie, and she asks, do you think UConn will three-peat?
Liz, will UConn three-peat? Who could bet against them the way things are going right now? They lost a number of players from the year before, really good players. They had Sanoka, they had Hawkins, they had a great Jackson. They had great lineup there. And Coach Danny Hurley says he has it on speed dial. I'm starting to believe him because right now they've just added some really good players. They got a guard from St. Mary's to come in, and he's one of the best guards in the country, and they're just reloading right now. And they have enough coming back, they have enough going forward, and everybody else is in a scramble. Everybody else's roster is completely upside down. UConn, we talked about before, one of the teams that did not have a preponderance of their guys. Years ago, they had 0 players in the portal. And that's a credit to Dan Hurley, his connections and networking with his players and the relationships that they have, but also to Tommy Moore and the rest of the staff doing a good job down there. So, I say yes. They have a very good chance to three-peat. If you ask me, could they go back-to-back this year, I probably would have said, ooh, that's hard. But now that they've gotten it done twice, they'd be in rarefied air if they got it done 3 times. Florida did it twice back-to-back with Billy Donovan's team, and it doesn't happen very often. Very hard to keep young athletes hungry once they've had a taste of success. And so I give the credit to Coach Hurley and his staff for doing that. Okay, question 3.
Okay, question 3 is from Will Jackson.
Will,
And he
shout out.
says, Ascension of Anthony Edwards. Can they win with him? NBA final.
What a great question. And people out there, you can find Will Jackson. He writes. He's been working with the Nets, and he is an up-and-coming, really, really great young media communications person. And so find out where he is and follow him because he's always talking some great stuff. And anybody that was interested, he gave you all the Orioles last year. And if you listened, you'd be rich men right now. So he's really, really great at what he does. And Will, what a great question. Anthony Edwards, we've talked about on this show. He is unbelievable. And what he's doing right now is just dominant. Just dominant. We're going to talk about the way the NBA is turned upside down right now, where you have the young talent is really, really owning the day in the NBA right now. They are handling their business at an unbelievably high level. Anthony Edwards is 22 years of age, and he is dominating the NBA. So if he can stay healthy and everything goes well, I think you're going to see Anthony Edwards probably in a Laker uniform one of these days, or possibly a Knick uniform one of these days, because he is going to be one of the stars. But thank you for that question, Will, because we're going to go through a little bit of that later in the show when we get into our NBA fish, talking about who are the young. We got a diesel dozen, I think we called them, of 12 great young players in the NBA. And then we hung that up next to, in juxtaposition to some of the players that are on the back nine. Okay, so great question, Will. Thank you. And we're on to number 4, Jay.
Yep, final question by Samantha Roberts.
Samantha.
Do the Knicks have a chance to beat the Celtics, Thibs style?
Okay, that's a great question. I think Uncle Will might have helped her with that question, so we're going to just give that. But Samantha, great question. And the Knicks right now, and if you see the Timberwolves right now, you're seeing two teams that are absolutely putting forth great effort on the defensive side of the basketball. It's playoff time in the NBA, and the teams that are playing defense, the Wolves almost ran the Nuggets off the floor the other night. So when you talk about Tibbs, Coach Thibodeau from the Knicks, same thing. They have a great presence on defense. And I think there was a latter part to that question was also, do they think that, in the matchup that's looming now, this is going to be an NBA great matchup. The Knicks and the Celtics, if things go well, are looming, to play each other in that final. And that's going to be an unbelievable series. Brunson's playing great. Celtics are on a roll. Porzingis' injury is going to be is significant there. So I think they asked a little bit about that. I think the Knicks have an injury to Randall. I think the Knicks are better without Randall. The injury with Porzingis, I don't think the Celtics are better without Porzingis. So that'll show. Okay? So that was 4 great questions. And Jordan, unbelievable job bringing that to everybody. All right?
Thank you.
So now we're going to jump back to our NBA fish. Feed 'em Fish goes back to the NBA right now. And as we said, it's loaded over there. There's a whole lot going on over there. We just have been following these playoffs closely. They've been very, very exciting. They've been very, very good playoff games. Good coaching, end of games, some of them. What I have seen that I have been a little bit unhappy with has been some of the margins of victory or the margin of defeat, depending upon which side of the equation you're formulated on. Would the Cavaliers come out against the Celtics, and the Celtics can do this to you, no doubt about it, but 25 points in a playoff game, come on. You gotta tighten up and do a little bit better than that. If that goes the way it goes, they have Darius Garland, they have, Donovan Mitchell. They don't have a whole lot else. If that goes the way it goes, the Celtics, and I think the NBA kind of anticipated this the way they're scheduling it, because the Celtics have only played 1 game so far. I think they're going to sweep the Cavaliers. And I'll be honest with everybody, I love the New York Knicks. I grew up in the Bronx. I'm a New York Knicks fan. I love the Celtics. I like the Knicks. It's a little bit weird, I know, but what can you do? But the Knicks right now, they have been very fortunate in both of those games so far. They go back to Indianapolis right now. This Indianapolis team with Tyrese Halliburton, Pascal Siakam, playing very good basketball right now. That series, I hate to put it out there. I know everybody's talking about Boston and the Knicks already, The Pacers aren't done yet, folks. I got news for you. All right, so a couple of things right off the get-go as we go, and this is the fastest hour in college basketball, first fastest hour in pro basketball. It's 30 minutes here, it's 30 minutes there, but you look up and it's over. You look up and it's over. Okay, Jason Kidd had a really good year coaching the Dallas Mavericks, brought in Kyrie Irving. They had to make some chemistry and some personality adjustments as they have gone on. They're winning, doing well. Luka and Kyrie are a nice 1-2 punch. They've got some other good players in there as well. But right now they have rewarded Jason Kidd with a new contract to coach the Dallas Mavericks into the foreseen future. All right? So ESPN came out with this list. I wanted to shoot some bullet holes in the list because I grew up with ESPN. I was all over ESPN when it first came out. You're telling me you're going to put on college basketball 24 hours a day and you don't think I'm going to be there? Of course I'm going to be there. But I got to be honest, I don't know what's going on at ESPN. I don't know who's making their calls, but some of this stuff gets a little bit embarrassing from time to time. And when you're the experts, when you're the gurus of the sports world, you can't afford to have these kind of mistakes. All right, so they listed the top 20 players, that are doing well in the playoffs in round one. All right, and so what I would have given a little more preponderance to in this list was who got knocked out and who's still playing. And some of the people that they missed on the list, I'm going to go through that as well. But they have Jokic, number one. He's having a great series. But the Nuggets, they're in a tough shape right now. They're in tough shape right now. Anthony Edwards, by far, has been a star of the playoffs, in my opinion. LeBron James, they listed number 3 because ESPN has to list LeBron James somewhere in the top 5 or they get in trouble. That's what I believe. If they don't put LeBron James up there, they get in trouble. They got bounced out in the first round. He had a really good time, but they led most of those games and then got beat, and they got beat handily by the Nuggets. So I don't have them that high on the list. Kyrie Irving, they're still playing, and he's had a great series. I like him in the 4th spot. Derek White from the Celtics, he's playing well. Don't know that I would have listed him over Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, but he's playing well. Joel Embiid, number 6, another knockout. And I thought Embiid's turnover numbers were ridiculously high in that series. I think the layoff that he had when he was out all that time with the injury, I think that hurt a little bit. Anthony Davis, number 7, again, got bounced out. I don't know how you put him in the top 10 when you get bounced out. Jalen Williams, now this guy's had a really good playoffs run so far. He should be moved up. SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, came in 2nd, I believe, in MVP voting. We're going to talk about that in a second. Porter Jr. for the Nuggets. Michael Porter Jr. doing good stuff. Tatum, Doncic, Harden, 13th on the list. Got bounced out. Franz Wagner, okay, not bad. But they got bounced too. Jalen Brunson in the 15th spot is factually ridiculous. This is where ESPN, you're losing me. There's only 4 players that have scored 40 points multiple times in playoff games. Jalen Brunson's one of them. We have that listed here. But it was Jerry West, Brunson, I believe Jordan, and another, Bernard King, I believe was the other name. So if you're in that kind of rarefied air, you're 15th. I mean, are you crazy? ESPN, come on. Maxey, 16th, had a great series. He did, but he got bounced. Gobert, 17, he's doing well. He's such a defensive presence for them. They play good defense, and he's the guy that keeps it close at the rim. Pascal Siakam having a really good series, doing good stuff. Cat, the big cat, Karl Anthony Towns. Just when you think you have Anthony Edwards solved, just when you think you got Jaden McDaniels solved for the Timberwolves, the big cat, 7 foot, sits out on the 3-point line and bangs a 3 on you. I mean, he's been playing well. Booker in the 20 spot, I guess so. But then, you have people that aren't on this list. Kevin Durant, I thought, had a pretty good playoff run. Jamal Murray doing some great stuff. Not his usual, but also hit some game winners. Paolo Banchero, Halliburton, Donovan Mitchell not being on the list is absolutely embarrassing for ESPN. So I wanted to also say, Jaden McDaniel, Timberwolves, having a great series, and they're doing good stuff. You got to reward the winners. Jason Hart and Dante DiVincenzo from the Knicks are playing out of their mind right now. Double D for the Knicks had 40 the other night. Playing out of their mind. So ESPN, I don't know. I don't know what's going on over there, but they absolutely blew it on this one. All right, so now this is the point of the show where we're going to jump into the playoffs. We're going to tell you what's happening. We're going to tell you what's happened, and hopefully we'll be able to tell you what might happen in the future. All right, so we're going to hit on all three spots. What happened? Great first-round games, teams advancing, and now you're getting into that really tight bracket where you got some great games going on here, some great series going on here. Right now, what happened in round one, you had the Celtics over the Heat 4-1. They absolutely smoked the Heat. I think it was payback. Obviously, Jimmy Butler being out for the Heat was significant, but the Celtics look good. Let's call it like we see it. The Knicks over the 76ers. This was a little bit of a surprise to me. Not that they won the series, but that it was 4-2 and could have been a lot quicker. The Knicks are looking pretty good right now. The Pacers over the Bucks 4-2. That's your surprise right there. Doc Rivers brought in to right the ship. They fired Adrian Griffin when they were 30-13. I have no idea what the Milwaukee Bucks front office is doing. I don't have a clue. But right now, they dissolved like an Alka-Seltzer in warm water. The Pacers took them off the floor 4-2. 4-2. And Milwaukee had home court advantage. The Cavaliers over the Magic, that might have been the best first-round series. Cavs took them way down to the end. Magic did a great job. Really did a great job. I was very excited about that series. Western Conference, you had the Thunder over the Pelicans. Boom. A Moses Malone, faux. They swept them, took them right out of there. And when the Pelicans lost Zion Williamson to injury, that kind of finished them. They weren't the type of team that could carry and sustain that injury. They just couldn't do it. But 4-0, I thought they might get a game there. But the Thunder right now, if you're looking at the Thunder and the Timberwolves, I think that's going to be your final over there on the West. Nuggets and the Lakers, they took them out 4-1. The Lakers led almost every single game in that series and found a way to blow it and lose it every single time. They've gone ahead. I don't know why. Gone ahead and fired Darvin Ham, but, we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. Then you have the Lakers and the Timberwolves and the Suns. That, to me, was the most telling piece of what's happening right now in the NBA. You had Kevin Durant going against Anthony Edwards, and they were going back and forth. But Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves, man, 4-0. 4-0. Devin Booker, pretty good series, but wasn't really, a factor to that level. And you have, over there as well, Beal never really got on track. And, they traded their big man in that trade, and that's what killed them on the glass as well. Karl Anthony Towns really hurt him in that series. Mavericks over the Clippers. This was a little bit of a surprise, too. I would say this is surprise 2, the second surprise of the playoffs, that they handled the Clippers like they did. 4-2. Clippers had home court advantage during the whole series, so I was pretty surprised by that. Okay. What's left, Jordan? We're in the Eastern Conference. We're in the finals. What's left is you have the Celtics and the Cavaliers right now, and the Celtics are up 1-0. As I alluded to previous, I was a little surprised to see that margin of victory. Really surprised to see that margin of victory, 25+. They played tonight. I think the Cavaliers might be able to get it together a little bit better, but they got some issues going on over there with that team. I'm not exactly 100% sure what it is, but I think the Celtics could sweep them. That could be a sweep. And the Knicks and the Pacers, Knicks are up 2-0, but they have been dogfights. And we're going to talk about this a little bit later in this segment, but the Pacers have gone ahead, and I don't know that I blame them. I don't know that you'll get anything out of it, but they've gone ahead and filed a grievance with the NBA based upon the officiating. And when you hear the number, your hat's going to flip off. All right, so in the Western Conference, again, you have the Nuggets and the T-Wolves. Right now, the Nuggets don't look very good. The NBA championship team that they were last year, man, they had trouble dribbling the ball over half court against Minnesota's lockdown defense. I loved watching that defense, and I'm rooting for this team, Minnesota, because they're getting after it. And that's what I like. It's hard to get pros to play hard on the defensive end of the ball. And they got Anthony Edwards, one of the best young rising pros in the game right now, and he's rocking and rolling over there. And now you got the Thunder and the Mavericks. And that's on tonight as well, too. I was a little surprised with the NBA that they only had one game on last night, which was okay. But tonight you'll have two games. You have the Thunder and the Mavericks going again tonight. 1-0. They're both in a tight series right there. But, 1-0, this would be a good game for Luka and the boys to get if they could break their serve here with the home court. All right, the Lakers, Darvin Ham fired. Okay, I just want to go out one more time to Jeannie Buss. I'm available. I'm ready. I'll pack my bags and come to L.A. I'll get LeBron rolling. We'll fill in some of those roster places here and there, but we'll get this team playing great defense like the Timberwolves are playing right now, playing this team playing good defense like the Knicks are playing right now. And it's definitely doable, definitely possible. But, Jeannie, give me a call. I'm available and I'm ready. Jordan, would you go to L.A.?
I'm in.
Pete's got us ready. Jordan says we're going to L.A. All right. So, consecutive 40-point playoff games. We wanted to talk about this. This is why you cannot have an estimation of the playoffs and have Jalen Brunson in the 15 spot. Anybody who's been watching these games would just laugh at that. All right. So, the most 40-point consecutive games in NBA, and I got to go back and look if he had 40 last night. I don't think he did. But that would break his streak. But up until that point, Jerry West is leading with six consecutive 40-point playoff games. Unbelievable. That's unbelievable. Brunson had 4. I have to go back and check last night and see. Jordan, 4. Bernard King, unbelievable. Bernard King, how good he was. He also had 4. Okay, so ESPN shot an air ball. And so now you have the Pacers. Let's just talk about that for a second. They have filed a complaint with the NBA about bad calls by the officials. Now, there's not a whole lot the NBA is going to do about this, folks. All right, they're not going to go back and go, oh, the Knicks are down 2-0 now instead of being up 2-0. They're not going to do that. But I think it might not have been a bad play by the Pacers just to put everybody on notice about this. Now, the number of calls that they're citing in between the games with the Knicks, get ready for this one. And I've watched that series. I'd love to know the 78 that they're talking about here, but they have 78 calls that they think the refs got wrong in that series. That's a lot. 78 in 80 minutes. That's almost 1 per minute. Now, I watched some of those games, and I was watching the end of the game, and I saw, now I'm not talking about fouls, that's a foul, that's not a foul. That's an interpretive type of call. And we leave that up to the refs to make that type of call because they've been calling the game all night. And what their standard has been for the night, you hope that they remain consistent with that throughout the night. Some refs will ref the game differently. They'll be more aggressive and they'll be calling a lot more fouls. And other refs will let them play and they'll have a lot less fouls, but it'll be a higher level of physicality in that game. So each ref does it as well. But the only thing I asked for as a coach was develop that level of consistency with me throughout the game. Don't call it one way for 38 minutes, then come back in the last 2 minutes and say, oh, my God, now that's a foul. This is a foul. I can't stand when that happens, and it does a lot. Okay? So 78 calls in 80 minutes. I think that, I'd love to see some of the breakdown on that. The Jokic, was voted MVP of the NBA and a great attribute for Joke. And I think well deserved. We had Luka as our number one guy. We had Luka as the MVP in the zone. The NBA went ahead and gave it to Joker. And I do want to take Shaquille O'Neal to task a little bit about the way, he was pushing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as the Thunder, and they finished first, and they did this. Well, Joker's team finished first too, and so there's not much of a debate there. They were both tied, but the way they go after this sometimes is disturbing, and the reason that they go after it sometimes is disturbing. I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, so Joker wins, goes on. Shaq, sorry, big guy, and I know you thought you got screwed a couple of times, and everybody else got this and got that. You know what? We're talking about today, big fella. And the Joker averaged a triple-double last year, and they gave it to Joel Embiid. Okay, it was a subjective call, as it always is. Here's another subjective call. Hey, big guy, live with it. Okay, so I just wanted to close out. We got one more little couple of pieces to throw at you here, and then we're going to close out our first day having Jordan Catherine Sutter as our co-host. I don't think that this can be a one-time only. I don't know, Pete. She's going to blow up. She's going to go viral, and I think you and I are going to be on the outside here. I think we're going to be in trouble. But what I wanted to allude to was this Diesel dozen that I picked out of the NBA, and to show you just how young the NBA is right now with some of these very, very bright stars. And then also to show you the back nine, to show you who's out there still plying the trade, still doing good things, but time wins over everyone in the NBA forum. In sports, time always wins. And so what we're saying right now is, here's what it looks like. And this Diesel dozen that we picked out, this is a good reason for the NBA to be excited about their future. This is a good reason for fans who love the NBA, who watch the NBA. Myself, a basketball young man growing up loving the NBA, and having a situation where, having this as part of my life put meaning in my life, actually. And so I really, really, I do enjoy the whole spectrum of it. I have enjoyed it. There's been ups and downs, obviously, with the game. A lot of things that I probably wouldn't have gone for or changed in the end. But when you put things in the balance of scales in life, that's how you figure it out. And if one comes up and tilts out the other way, like basketball has for me, that's how you arrive at meaning. That's how you arrive at something that you can value in your life. So the NBA, Young Guns, Anthony Edwards, T-Wolves, we've been talking about him. Everybody's talking about him. He is a superstar. He does remind of Michael Jordan. He's not Michael Jordan. He said that this week. But he does remind of Michael Jordan. His swagger, his ability to make big shots, his ability to hang in the air, his athleticism is absolutely unbelievable. And his dunking ability is incredible. His dunking ability, we've had a couple of segments on the show that we called Noxzema, where it's absolutely in your face. And Anthony Edwards was one of our prime Noxzema candidates this year, where he puts dunks up, and it's amazing. It really is amazing to me because I played basketball. I never dunked a basketball in my life. Not even close could I come to dunking a basketball. And it's so amazing to me the ease at which they do it now. The ease at which some of these young men can get up and dunk a basketball in traffic with 7-foot guys hanging around who are supposed to block those shots. But he's 22 years old, folks. He's 22 years old. He spent 1 year at the University of Georgia, and absolutely a bright young star in the NBA. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's 25. The Oklahoma City Thunder. He's another young man with immense talent. And as we go through this, we're going to be talking. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was a Kentucky guy. He went to UK. Jalen Brunson from the Knicks. He's a little bit of an old man here in this group, but he's 27. But he's playing absolutely phenomenal basketball, has a national title at Villanova. And this is what I tell the general managers that are out there. Call me, okay, and we'll have this discussion. But Jalen Brunson won a national title at Villanova. Jalen Brunson probably didn't even get drafted, and he was way, way down there on the draft line. His dad was a great player. He just has good family lines. This is why when they draft all of these players, and you go back and look at last year's draft, half of them aren't even in the league. Half of them aren't even in the league, more than half. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA, doing great stuff. Jalen Brunson, great stuff. Ja Morant had to sit out this year, injury, one piece, but then also took a 40-plus game suspension from the NBA for some off-court stuff, which I hope we can avoid in the future. He's 24. He's mercurial. He's one of the best players in the NBA right now at 24. He is sensational, got a great, great profile, a great, great upside. But Anthony Edwards doesn't leave the gym. Anthony Edwards wants to beat all of you guys out, and you better check that, and you better know that when you go into this forum, because if you want to go out to the club with your guys, Anthony Edwards is going to be in there. Here comes my Noxzema segment. Pete from off campus, bang! Right on the top. I mean, how do you dunk in that amount of time and right over the top of somebody who was 6'10" and was trying to stop you? It's unbelievable. Hurt his hand on that one, too. But what a dunk. What a Noxzema moment that was in the zone. Okay? So Ja Morant, very young. Victor Wembanyama, Another superstar, 20 years old. 20. Got a long future in front of him. Chet Holmgren, 22 from the OKC Thunder, 22 years old. And these young men are doing great things in the NBA. Years ago, 22, you'd just be getting your draft notice right now. But what happens is we're doing the one and dones, and they're going in and doing good stuff. Jason Tatum, 26. Jaylen Brown, 27. The Celtics are set for a while. Luka, 25. Not bad for Luka. Zion Williamson, a superstar in the NBA, 23. He's only 23 years old. Scotty Barnes, I mention him a lot. He's stuck in Toronto with nobody. He's looking for Dudley Do-Right right now, somebody to come and play with him. They had a fire sale in the middle of the year, traded Pascal Siakam, traded a bunch of other guys. Scotty's up there by himself, but I'm telling you right now, Scotty, that's going to be good for you because you're going to get more shots. You're going to get more attempts. You're going to be the guy. And when you're the guy, I've always been very, very high on this young man. When they turn out and find out how good this guy really is, they're going to really, really see. He's a really, really great young player at 22 years old. Paolo Banchero, 21 years old. 21 years old. Tyrese Halliburton, we talked about him, the NBA assist king this year, 24 years old, just a few years out of Iowa State. Unbelievable. Okay, here's your back nine. Who's the oldest player in the NBA right now? LeBron James. He is 39 years old and like 130 days as of May 8th. So he's almost he'll be 40. If he plays next year, he'll eclipse his 40th birthday in an NBA uniform. I don't even know where you begin to discuss the whole depth and the accolades of LeBron James and where does he fit in on the all-time greatest players, certainly in the consideration. I don't think I have him. You know, I have my Bird and Jordan kind of 1-2. You know, I don't know where I would put LeBron. I'd have to sit down and think about it. He's certainly amassed an unbelievable career, but I'm a basketball feel guy. I'm a basketball visual guy. And when I watch some of the stuff that happens in the league today with the way the league goes on, I watch him and the way that he comports himself out on the floor. I just think defense is really an important part of the game. I don't think that he's been a great defender. His time in the NBA hasn't been rated as a great defender. But he's 39 years old, and boy, oh boy, is he producing at a very, very high level. So kudos to LeBron. Maybe he'll get a chance to play with his son, too. That would be special for him. I'm not sure who else it would be special for, but it would certainly be special for him. Kevin Durant, 35 years old. 35. It was just a while ago he spent a year at Texas. It's just amazing when I think about this, and I'm going to give you one name. It's going to rattle you. And you just go, my God, where does the time go? Where has the time gone with some of these young men? And it's just unbelievable. Here's the one that's going to really rattle your shoes. Steph Curry. Steph Curry. Jordan, guess how old you think Steph Curry is?
37.
37. Great guess. He's 36 years old. He was a baby just a little while ago. I don't know how he got to be 36 years old, but he's 36. Led the league in three-point shooting this year, though, too. So there's still room for some of this veteran mentorship that's going on right now, if that's what's going on. Chris Paul, 39. I was surprised at that one. Chris Paul, 39. Al Horford, 37. Whew, you're getting up there, Al. I just came in. Al Horford was on that aforementioned Florida team where they went back-to-back. Joakim Noah, Al Horford. That was a great team. Really, really good team. P.J. Tucker, 39. He's right behind LeBron as the second oldest player in the league. So what we're watching is the beginning and the end. You're looking at some players right at the very beginning of their career, and God willing, we'll be around to talk about their careers as they move through and go through their careers. And then we're also watching some of the greats that we just mentioned, LeBron, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, close out their careers. And I think that it will be interesting. It's always interesting to me to see how players close out their career. One of the reasons I was always a huge David DeBusschere fan, because David DeBusschere took a championship from the Knicks and he walked out the door. He said, that's it. They won the title. He said, it will never get any better than this. And he absolutely was ready to retire and walked out the door a champion. I think there's something to be said for that. I think there's something great in that. And so how they conclude their career, can LeBron James conclude his career as a champion? That's going to take a lot of rebuilding from the Lakers. It's also going to have somebody who convinces them that they're going to have to get in a defensive stance and stop people. Okay? But can they rebuild while he's 39 years old? I'm not sure. He's an unbelievable specimen of an athlete. If anybody can do it, LeBron James most likely can, but it's a mental, physical, spiritual grind out there. So I would be surprised. I would be surprised to see that. But certainly, Kevin Durant, another one of the players that you're going to list as one of the all-time NBA great players of all time. Steph Curry, he'll be listed as maybe the greatest shooter in the game that we've ever seen. That's another debatable question. Is LeBron James the GOAT? Maybe. Is Steph Curry the GOAT as far as shooting? Maybe. And it's personal, subjective, but that's what makes this great. Makes a great debate. Really, really interesting. So as we move forward with the NBA, we got a few minutes left, but as we move forward with the NBA, you've got 2 games on tonight that are seminal games in terms of what's going to happen. And I'm just going to break that down for you right now. You have the Celtics playing the Cavaliers. When I say it's a seminal game, it means it's important. It means it's going to have a lot of bearing on what takes place in the future of this series. What's going to happen tonight? The bookmakers say it's 13.5, almost 14-point spread, which is a lot. That's a lot of points. But the Celtics won by 25 in the first game. So will it be more of game 1? Or will the Cavaliers find a way to slow them down, to slow that offensive juggernaut that the Celtics have? Can you slow it down a little bit? And then can you augment some of the pieces that you have? Because the Celtics will do a pretty good job of taking out Donovan Mitchell. They're not going to let him get off. They're not going to let him, crush them and kill them. Darius Garland being their number 2, he's doing great things and he's having a great year. But if that's your number 2 and you're going up against the Celtics, you're going to lose that fight most nights. Okay, and so that game tonight, the Celtics are 1-0, and you'll see. I think if you're in the locker room with Joe Mazzulla tonight, Joe Mazzulla is probably talking about game 2 of the Heat series, where the Celtics dumped that game at home and put things in peril just a little bit. Then they had to go back and take out the Heat at Miami 2 in a row and then come back home and finish them in 5. But if I'm Coach Mazzulla, I'm giving them the game 2 blues right now and telling them, hey, we didn't function in our last game 2. We had a victory of 25 points. Show me you're hungry. Show me that you're ready for this. Show me that you're ready to blow this out again for another 25-point win, because that's where we are in game 1. That's how much better we were than them in game 1. The series will determine how much better we are than them over time, and that's going to be really, really interesting. The Mavs and the Thunder, unbelievable. Unbelievable. That's a good series. The Mavs hung in there the other night, but the Thunder had the answers at the end of that game. And I think the Thunder are getting their right people in the right spots at the right time. And that's where, at the end of that game, I was very, very impressed with their control of that game, because the Mavericks made a really good run. Luka and Kyrie made a big run at them and gave them a good shot. But OKC is very young, as we alluded to, but they held on. They held on. They have Holmgren, and they have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. We talked about both of them, 2 of the great stars, but under 25. And this is a big series, and they're handling themselves very, very professionally, handling themselves very, very well. I think if that matchup goes the way it goes, I think the Mavericks and I think the Pacers are going to give a little bit more fuss here than you see right now. I think both of those series will be a little bit deeper than they will. And the other piece of it is when you're looking at it and you're the Celtics or you're OKC, you sit there and go, can we finish this quick? Get them out of here in 4 games and then get the rest while our opponent has to go to 7 games. While the Knicks will go to 7 against the Pacers. That's what the Celtics are hoping for. Let us get done in 4. Let them get done in 7. OKC is in the same boat right now, and they're in the same boat they're facing the Thunder, but they want to get it. Hopefully, I mean the Thunder are against the Mavericks, and they want to hopefully get that done quick, so that when they go to the other side, the Timberwolves are finishing the Nuggets quick. That could go boom boom. So you're going to see how this thing develops tonight, because this is going to, you have two teams that are out there in front, and then you got a couple of others that are going to, be going back and forth. I think the Celtics will handle their business tonight at home, and I think the Mavericks will take care of the Thunder tonight. I think the Mavs will come back, play a very strong game. I think Luka and Kyrie will be ready for the game, and I think this Thunder team's going to, show their youth at times. I think they're going to be able to show their youth at times. So we have come right around the fastest hour in basketball. Jordan, how'd you like it today?
I loved it. I had a great time in the zone. Thank you for having me.
It was our pleasure to have you. You made us look very, very beautiful today.
Thank you.
And so we want to have you back at another time. And maybe you and I can sit out here in the green room, and Pete will go back and do his magic behind the panel and everything like that. But we wanted to thank you for being with us today and doing such an absolute great job. We want to thank everybody who came in with the questions and gave us something to talk about today. And we'll do that again from time to time. We'll put it out. But we're in Western Mass here right now, and we are absolutely getting ready for beautiful weather. Beautiful basketball. The Celtics are going to have a chance to win it all, folks. The Celtics are going to have a chance to bring it home and win the whole thing. And so that's exciting. And I think on the other side, you got some really, really good battles over there going on the Western Conference as well. So I'm hoping that the Knicks take care of the Pacers, because I really want to see the Knicks and the Celtics go at it in the Eastern Conference Final. And what I'm also hoping for is that the Wolves and the Thunder go at each other, because I want to see Anthony Edwards and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander line up in that game, in that series. So there's a lot of things I'm hoping for right now, and it's not even Christmas time, but we're getting in the zone. We want to thank all of you for being with us. Thank all of you for watching. And what we ask you to do is send us out, extrapolate us. Send us out to your friends. Share the videos. Get it out there. We're busting our butt here trying to bring you some really, really good basketball. And put it on while you're doing something at home. Just give us a listen. But that gets our views up there. Give us some likes. Get everything going for us. Because when you're in the zone, baby, you're in the zone. We'll see you next week. Hopefully Pete's going to be back with us, and there we were going to rock and roll. But Jordan, Catherine Sutter, first time in the zone. I give it an A+, Pete. She absolutely hit it out of the park. It's a great look for the Westfield State Communications Department. It's unbelievable what they're doing up there as well. So again, thanks for being with us today, folks. We're in the zone, and we'll be back next week to see you.